At this point of the NBA offseason, there is not much to make content on, so trying to figure out video ideas is rather difficult. But this Friday, I figured out a preseason 2025 NBA MVP predictions video. Here are my top 10 players that could win MVP and why they will or will not win MVP. I want to quickly shout out the 4 players that I debated putting here as they just missed the cut, but I just don't think they realistically have any chance of winning. Zion Williamson has been a popular name in MVP talks, but realistically, he won't win as the injury concern is always there, but statistically, he is just not going to surpass other top players. Anthony Davis won't win as the media still disrespects him, and he doesn't have the numbers at this moment to make entertaining an MVP narrative valid. Devin Booker will not win because the vote would be split with KD if there was even a conversation, and Donovan Mitchell is just going to miss the cut because of how he actually is one of the more injury-riddled players in the league. So considering the 65-game requirement, I don't have enough confidence to say that he will be a top 10 player in this conversation. Starting the top 10 off, I must include Steph Curry, although it is very questionable. At this stage of Curry's career, he is not the MVP favorite he used to be, and with the Warriors team looking to be disappointing yet again, there is a huge chance he is nowhere near this conversation. But the only way the Warriors are competitive this season is if we get the MVP version of Steph Curry, and knowing the media's love for Curry, he could realistically get a top 10 finish. Again, this is highly unlikely, and the only pathway for this to come to fruition is if the Warriors overachieve, and that can only be done with a version of Steph Curry at the same level of 2016. Jason Tatum is coming to us at 9, and yes, I know being the best player on the best team should make him higher on the list, but when has the best player on the best team in the league won MVP recently? Exactly. Jason Tatum took a step back last season for the team, but there were other issues with his play that hindered him from winning MVP, and other players were just having better seasons. Leaving him at 9 is a respect thing here, but in reality, I don't think anyone is going to be quick to vote him in as the 2025 MVP, so given how this is a prediction video as much as a power rankings, having him at 9 is definitely my opinion, and I believe it to be supported to this point. If the MVP was solely based on popularity, there's no way Anthony Edwards wouldn't win, given the massive following he has, as he is one of the more entertaining players both on and off the court. Unfortunately for him, I do not think there is going to be enough statistical support for him to win MVP, as he is not the most efficient player nor consistent player, and looking at an MVP, both of these things are a necessity. There are more things he must unlock in his playmaking ability if he wants to be considered a true MVP contender as well. Now, it is possible that he does find himself in the conversation all season as he is durable and is extremely talented, but there are many question marks surrounding him, limiting my confidence in his chances at this award. Jalen Brunson is the king of New York, and he should have been recognized as a frontrunner for MVP last season given the success of the Knicks team that was extremely depleted. Knowing how great of a run the Knicks had in the regular season, though, last year, and acknowledging the fact that Brunson was not a leading candidate, it is hard to imagine that he can do anything to really sway the voters to his support this year. There obviously is a chance he does win if he leads the Knicks to the 1 seed, with nearly the same usage rate on offense as last year, but his load will calm down given the new additions, and the fact that his teammates are healthy at this moment in time doesn't make the usage rate really work out. So a world where everything happens to go right for the Brunson MVP case is a world that is unfortunately hard to imagine. Just edging out Jalen Brunson on my list of potential MVPs for 2025, I have Ja Morant. Last year, the Grizzlies were one of the worst teams in basketball until Ja Morant got healthy. And of course, when he went down with a season-ending injury, they went back to being horrible. The cryptic media that has been villainizing Ja for his off-the-court issues started to acknowledge his impact this year and has become big in the support of Ja Morant. And if Ja goes nuts this year to the extent we have seen in the playoffs and brings the Grizzlies from a 13 seed up to a top 4 team in the West, maybe top 6, there is no doubt in my mind that he could be a frontrunner for MVP. And he is honestly my dark horse MVP at this moment in time. Obviously, I share the same concerns about health, production, and success with Ja as I do with the other players I have him ranked ahead of, but if the media decides to push a pro-Ja narrative this year, he can win the award, or at least be a top finisher in the MVP race. The top 5 on my list are not really surprising at all, as we already know who they are, and if they appear in 65 games, they will headline the MVP discussion. I do have to make a prediction here, though. So starting at 5, I have Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid was on pace for a historically great year until he got hurt last season, and if it weren't for his injury, he would have probably went back-to-back if he maintained the pace he was playing at. But as I already mentioned, he got hurt, and that is a consistent theme in his NBA career. So knowing the 65-game requirement, I have no choice but to place him at 5 and not higher. Coming in at 4, I have Giannis. Giannis has been forgotten about by the media, pretty stupidly I might add, but we cannot forget that this man continues to dominate everyone, every night in the regular season. The MVP voters have cooled off of the Giannis hype train, and he has been more injury prone, so as unfortunate as it may be, saying Giannis is going to finish within the top 3 is just something I cannot say in a prediction. The top 3 contenders for this award are obvious, and with that, we start the top 3 with the reigning MVP, Nikola Jokic. I would not be surprised at all if Jokic wins the award for the 4th time this season, but I have a feeling that team success will be the deciding factor between the top 3 candidates, and looking at the Nuggets, I am not confident in them being successful at all. Factoring that into voter fatigue that is almost guaranteed is why I will not predict him to win MVP this year. However, there is a chance he has another historically great season that makes it nearly impossible not to give him the award, so I am by no means counting him out. It seems like a lot of my content this summer that surrounds rankings concludes with a conversation about Luka and SGA, and rightfully so. I have Luka over SGA as a player, but as an MVP candidate, although I would have voted for him last season, I believe NBA media does not give him his credit due to how he carries himself, and the defensive end certainly does not help him get popular votes, so I'm willing to say Luka will have a better season than SGA and is the better player, but SGA will win the 2025 MVP award as the voters love him, and last year many voters who took Jokic probably won't be taking him again, making SGA the favorite and most likely MVP winner. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you want to see last week's rankings video where I gave my first official preseason power rankings for the 2025 NBA season, go click on the video on the screen. Y'all stay safe. Have a good one. Bye.